The Department of Labor Statistics says the U.S. economy added 261,000 jobs last month, down from 263,000 in September. The unemployment rate edged up slightly to 3.7% from 3.5%. And our latest ABC News Ipsos poll shows the most important issue to voters in these elections: inflation and the economy. ABC News business reporter Alexis Christoforous and ABC News' Kenneth Moton are here now to unpack this for us. Thank you both for being here. Alexis, what does this report tell you about the job market and the economy in general?
Well, I can tell you that we've gotten a lot of data on the job market lately, and this is just another data point that points to a very resilient job market. You mentioned 261,000 jobs added. That was a lot more than expected. We were looking at 205,000. The unemployment rate moving up to 3.7%. That also shows that a lot of folks are actually actively out there searching for work. But my big takeaway in this report, average hourly wages. That's when you start to get a feel for what's happening with inflation. So wages were up 0.4% month over month, up 4.7% from a year ago. So the tight labor market means workers still have the upper hand here when it comes to asking for a higher wage. That puts upward pressure on inflation. Remember, the Fed wants to see the unemployment rate rise to about 4.5% and wage growth to slow. This report shows us we have a ways to go.
Now, Kenneth, President Biden issued a statement today saying this shows our economy remains strong. But polling shows voters don't think the economy is strong and tend to trust Republicans more to get it back on track. So how big of a challenge is this for Democrats right now?
Diane, we know that half of Americans in our recent ABC News Ipsos poll say that inflation and economy are top of mind when voting. You ask what's the challenge here for Democrats? Well, the economy, high gas prices, the high costs of food at the grocery store are all staring this democratically controlled White House and Congress in the face, and Republicans are doing everything they can to seize on that without giving specifics about what they plan to do to fix it. But Biden says the numbers speak for themselves in the latest jobs report. You mentioned that statement, Diane. The president says there's been a streak of job creation in every month of his presidency. And Biden also continues to acknowledge inflation is our top economic challenge, that he knows American families are feeling the squeeze. This will not only come down to messaging for Democrats, Diane, it will come down to turnout. And traditionally, we know that Democrats do better when there's high turnout.
Now, Alexis, all of this comes on the heels of another interest rate hike by the Fed. What does this report tell you about inflation and the possibility of a recession?
Well, look, the Fed's interest rate hikes are definitely slowing the housing market, not so much here for the job market. If you look this week, we found out 10.7 million job openings out there, roughly 2 job openings for every 1 person looking. The Fed has no reason to slow its interest rate hikes given today's report, which means that the likelihood for a recession next year rises. I do want to point out, though, we're starting to see some cracks in the foundation of the job market. The tech sector is particularly sensitive to higher interest rates, and a number of companies in that sector are announcing layoffs. Amazon and Facebook's parent company both implementing hiring freezes. Also, Lyft is going to be laying off about 700 workers. And then, of course, Twitter, now owned by Elon Musk, looking at getting rid of half of their 7,500 employees. And I know we're going to have much more on that later.
We are. And Kenneth, what are you expecting to hear from candidates on both sides of the aisle as they make their closing arguments on the economy heading into Tuesday?
Diane, we will hear the traditional talking points. Who's good? Who's bad? President Biden, who's hitting the campaign trail in Pennsylvania this weekend to campaign for John Fetterman, who's trying to get that Senate seat, will say that he's got a plan to bring down those costs, especially for health care, energy, and everyday expenses. Also that the Republican plan is a disaster, the president is expected to say, increasing costs for prescription drugs, health insurance, and energy while giving tax breaks to big corporations and the wealthy. Republicans will say that Biden and the Democrats were the spin, spin, spin party with no real plan to tackle this economy and inflation. No matter what these candidates say, Diane, we know that in the end it will be the voters who have that final say.
They sure do. Alexis Christoforous, Kenneth Moton, thank you both.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.